Hi everyone and welcome. In this video, we're talking about something that affects all of us at some point: stress, and how to manage it, especially when life feels overwhelming. Whether you're dealing with pressure at work, juggling school deadlines, or facing personal challenges, stress can take a toll on your health, your focus, and your energy. That's why this video is here to help. We're going to explore how to recognize common stressors, how to anticipate challenges, and most importantly, how to respond with practical tools and strategies that can make a real difference. You'll also learn how to look after your mental and physical well-being. And we'll highlight resources and supports available in your community because you don't have to go through it alone. By the end of this video, you'll have some useful strategies to help you manage stress, recover from it, and support both yourself and those around you, no matter what life throws your way. Let's get started. What is stress? Stress is your body's natural response to a demand, pressure, or challenge. It's how your brain and body react when something feels threatening, difficult, or overwhelming. Whether it's a big exam, a tough deadline at work, financial worries, or personal issues. At its core, stress is a survival mechanism. When you're faced with a challenge, your body kicks into fight or flight mode. Your heart rate goes up, your muscles tense, your breathing quickens, and stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline flood your system. This can help you stay alert and focused in the short term, but if that stress sticks around for too long, it can weigh you down physically and emotionally. There are two main types of stress. Acute stress, short-term stress that comes and goes, like being late for something or prepping for a test. Chronic stress, long-term stress that builds over time and can seriously affect your health and well-being, like ongoing pressure, relationship strain, or financial issues. In small doses, stress can motivate you and help you perform under pressure. But unmanaged and constant stress can lead to burnout, anxiety, trouble sleeping, and even physical health problems. That's why learning to recognize stress and having strategies to manage it is so important. You're not meant to just push through it all the time. Your body and mind need care and recovery too. Let's start by looking at one of the most common sources of stress: personal life. Stress often starts close to home with the relationships and responsibilities that matter most to us. Things like relationship issues with family, friends, or partners can create emotional strain. Misunderstandings, conflict, or a lack of support can leave us feeling isolated or overwhelmed. Financial difficulties are another major stressor. Whether it's worrying about bills, debt, or job instability, money stress can affect every part of your life, from your sleep to your mood to your ability to focus. Health problems, both physical and mental, can contribute to stress. Chronic pain, illness, anxiety, or depression not only affect your body and mind, but can also drain your energy and resilience. Then there are major life changes like moving to a new place, experiencing the loss of a loved one, or going through a divorce or a breakup. Even positive changes like starting a new job or having a child can be stressful because they push us out of our comfort zone. And finally, a big source of stress that often gets overlooked comes from internal pressures, like perfectionism, negative self-talk, or setting unrealistic expectations for ourselves. Sometimes, the voice in our head is the one applying the most pressure. Recognizing these personal stressors is the first step in managing them. When we understand what's weighing on us, we can start to take action by setting boundaries, asking for help, or being kinder to ourselves. Next, let's talk about stress that comes from the organization or system you're part of, whether that's your workplace, school, or any structured environment. One of the biggest challenges is a lack of communication or unclear expectations. When you don't know what's expected of you or when important information isn't shared, it creates confusion and anxiety. You might find yourself unsure about your role or responsibilities, which makes it harder to do your best work. Another common source of stress is having limited resources or support. This could mean not enough time, tools, or help to get your job done properly. When you feel like you're constantly running on empty or working without the support you need, it can quickly become overwhelming. Poor leadership or management practices also play a major role. Leaders who don't listen, don't provide clear guidance, or fail to recognize your efforts can make the work environment feel unsafe or discouraging. Good leadership can make all the difference, but when it's lacking, stress levels rise. Organizational changes or restructuring, like a company merger, policy shifts, or layoffs, are another big source of stress. Change can be unsettling because it creates uncertainty about the future and your place within the organization. Finally, lack of recognition or fairness can deeply impact motivation and well-being. When your hard work goes unnoticed or when you perceive unfair treatment, it can lead to frustration and disengagement. Understanding these organizational stressors help us see that sometimes the pressure isn't just about what's on our plate, it's also about the environment we're in. Identifying these challenges is the key to advocating for ourselves and seeking support when needed. Now, let's focus on stress that comes specifically from work-related factors. A very common source of stress is a heavy workload or unrealistic deadlines. When there's too much to do and not enough time to do it, it's easy to feel overwhelmed and burn out. This constant pressure can make it difficult to focus and affect your overall well-being. Job insecurity or lack of career growth is another major stressor. Not knowing if your job is stable or feeling stuck without opportunities to advance can create anxiety about the future and lower motivation. Stress also often comes from conflict with coworkers or supervisors. Disagreements, misunderstanding, or difficult personalities can make the workplace uncomfortable or even hostile, which takes a toll on mental health. Another challenge is a role ambiguity or lack of control. When you're unclear about your responsibilities or don't have much say in how you do your work, it can cause frustration and uncertainty. Having control over your work is important for feeling confident and engaged. Finally, work-life imbalance is a big source of stress. When work demands start to take over your personal time, it can lead to exhaustion and strain on relationships. Maintaining a healthy boundary between work and life is crucial for long-term well-being. Recognizing these work-related stressors help us understand where we feel pressured, and it guides us towards strategies to set boundaries, communicate our needs, and seek support. Finally, let's take a closer look at what we mean by situational factors. These are the circumstances that can impact us in the moment, often without warning. For example, unexpected events or crises can suddenly disrupt our normal flow and require us to adapt quickly. In these moments, we often face high-stakes decision-making, where the choices we make have significant consequences. Many situations are emergency or time-sensitive, meaning there's pressure to act fast, sometimes with limited information. We might also be exposed to distressing events or environments that can affect us emotionally or mentally. Finally, situational factors often involve uncertainty or lack of predictability, making it difficult to anticipate what will happen next. All these elements combine to create challenging scenarios where our ability to manage stress and respond effectively is crucial. Stress has a complex relationship with our performance and overall health. It's not always negative, but when unmanaged, it can lead to serious consequences. On one hand, stress can sometimes enhance performance. This is often called the Yerkes-Dodson law, which suggests that a moderate level of stress or pressure can actually boost alertness, focus, and motivation. For example, a deadline might push us to concentrate better and complete tasks efficiently. This kind of positive stress is sometimes called eustress. However, when stress becomes excessive or prolonged, it tends to impair our performance. High levels of stress can overwhelm our cognitive resources, making it harder to concentrate, remember important information, and make clear decisions. It can also reduce creativity and problem-solving abilities, which are essential in many work and life situations. Beyond performance, unmanaged stress can have serious health consequences. Chronic stress keeps the body in a state of heightened alert, which can lead to physical problems such as high blood pressure and increased risk of heart disease, weakening immune system making us more susceptible to illness, digestive problems like ulcers or irritable bowel syndrome, sleep disturbance that further degrade physical and mental health. Mentally, chronic stress contributes to anxiety disorders, depression, burnout, and can negatively affect overall well-being and quality of life. The key takeaway is that while stress in small doses can be helpful and motivating, it's important to recognize when it becomes harmful and take steps to manage it effectively. Here's a visual representation of the Yerkes-Dodson law, showing how stress impacts performance. As you can see, when stress increases from low to moderate, performance improves, but once stress becomes too high, performance begins to decline. This demonstrates the importance of managing stress levels to stay within the optimal zone. Now, let's explore how we can manage stress in a healthy and sustainable way. These techniques won't eliminate stress entirely, but they can help you stay grounded and cope more effectively. First, mindfulness and relaxation techniques like deep breathing, meditation, or even taking a few minutes to slow down and focus on the present moment can lower your body's stress response. Time management is another critical area. When we feel overwhelmed, it's often because tasks are piling up or priorities aren't clear. Breaking tasks down and planning ahead can reduce pressure significantly. Physical activity is one of the most effective stress relievers. Whether it's walking, stretching, or going to the gym, it helps release tension and boost mood. We also can't forget the importance of a healthy lifestyle. Staying hydrated, getting enough rest, and eating well all support our ability to cope with challenges. Another big one is social support. Talking to someone you trust can help you feel heard and give you a fresh perspective. You don't have to go through stress alone. Also, it's okay to set boundaries. Learn to say no when your plate is full and try to maintain balance between work and personal time. And finally, don't underestimate the power of doing things you enjoy. Whether it's a creative hobby or just spending time in nature, these moments of joy are powerful buffers against stress. Let's wrap up what we covered today. We talk about what stress is, the different sources like situational, organizational, and personal, and how it can show up in your body, thoughts, and behavior. We also look at how stress can sometimes improve performance in the short term. But when it becomes chronic or unmanaged, it can harm our health, our work, and our relationships. The good news? There are practical, accessible ways to manage stress, from mindfulness and movement to setting boundaries and asking for support. The key takeaway is this: stress is part of life, but it doesn't have to control your life. By understanding it and using even small strategies, you can build resilience and protect your well-being. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this helpful, give it a like, subscribe for more wellness content, and share it with someone who might need it today. Take care of yourself, you deserve it.